Guys, Papa Pepper here, and I'm in my old stomping grounds. And when I say stomping grounds, I mean we used to actually go stomping around here. That little thing right there in the water in front of us, that's a frog head. Another frog head there, but all through this, we have a nice swampy area that was a place we'd always go looking for snapping turtles. And you might have saw my last how to find turtles video, where I pretty much just get out in something like that and look for heads. And you can do that here. And we certainly have done that here. I'm about to do a bit of that. But there's another method for locating animals, turtles specifically, that we use out here. And it's pretty much, you just walk around barefoot until you step on something hard. There's not a lot of hard things out there. Sometimes there's logs or sticks, sometimes there's rocks, but often there will be snapping turtles. So you may be thinking, wait, you just walk around with bare feet feeling around in the mud until you step on a snapping turtle? Well, yeah, it's how you find them, it's how you catch them. So we're gonna head out in here right now, and that could be a turtle right there. I'm gonna keep an eye on the sections of the things you see. And this, yeah, that definitely was a turtle. So I'm guessing that was a small painted turtle, probably a 3-year-old. Oh, there went another one. And they may be a little hard to get to here, but we're gonna see what we can find. Oh, see? There we go, that's beautiful. Little baby western painted turtle. And there was one right up here too. This one might be a little... Oh, we got him too. Wow. Okay, Papa Pepper's kind of showing off today, guys. Just getting the quick bearings here. But we just got two. This little one, he might actually be about 4 years old. I was just guessing from the head size. It'd be a 2 or 3. And this guy here is probably a 2-year-old. These are two western painted turtles. You can see how dark this one's been discolored, I believe, from the rust in the water. Oh, I thought I saw another one. It was a snail. But you can obviously see that there are turtles in this area. But the interesting thing is that there's snappers in this area too. So you can see this stuff here isn't exactly the most attractive to walk in, but it's got a soft mud under the weeds here. So the actual, if I go down this far, I'm touching the mud, and I go down that far and I'm touching the bottom. You can see here I was touching the mud, here I'm touching the bottom. So there's a lot of good room in a situation like this for a snapper to bury itself and to hide. So if I catch an area like this, I can't really see the surface very well, but if I'm looking this way, I'll be able to again pinpoint those heads when they're up. Like that looks like it could be a head, or so could that. Sometimes you'll have snail shells and a variety of other things that hit the surface like that. Sometimes it'll be frogs. So not everything that looks like that is going to be a turtle head. This one's weeds, that one's a little snail shell, that one's something else. But if you keep an eye out for stuff like that, you'll be able to potentially just find some by sight. But again, like I said, the main way I'm looking right now, I'm going to try to find a big snapper just by walking around, and that's what we're stepping in. Barefoot, which interestingly enough, I grew up as a kid doing this. When we were young, we were out in the same exact location doing it, finding some pretty big ones. In all my years of doing it, I've never got bit, and it's always worked out pretty well. By the time a snapping turtle gets big, when they're young, they got a lot of ridges on their shell. When they get big, they tend to smooth out. And by the time they're pretty big, all you got left is one point on the back of the shell that points you to where the tail is. Some nice ducks and stuff up there. So at that point, you got to feel around on the back of the shell, find that one point, and that points to the tail. Now I have accidentally had my hand slip off the other side of the shell, and I thought I grabbed a really fat tail, but as it happened, it was the neck of a very large snapping turtle. And that was back before I had trained myself to be able to pick up a snapping turtle by the neck. I was probably a teenager still at the time. So I grabbed it by the neck, and all of a sudden the head came sliding through. I thought, whoa, we got to get to the other end of this animal. So we did. Went to the other end of the animal. See, that's probably not a head, but it looks enough like it could be that I'm still going to walk over. In this area right now, the sun hasn't been out as much. We're early in the morning. This stuff is actually pretty cold, so the probability of one just sitting up like that wasn't quite as great as it would be on a hot summer day. I mean, we're closing in on the end of, sometimes you just kick things too, snail. Closing in on the end of August here up in Wisconsin. Sometimes the nights I think are getting down in the 50s at least. I think I had some in the 40s. So, okay, we got 2 painted turtles. That's not what I'm looking for. And actually, when we were young, we would line this thing, get about 2 or 3 of us. Sometimes I think, it was only 3 wide. And we just kind of walk, back and forth in a line. Everyone feeling in front of them. Then we turn around, and we'd head right back in the section next to, really methodically search this section. So right now, I'm just kind of going random. I'm just kind of walking wherever. And we'll see. There's not exactly, there's some old timers up here who still catch snappers for eating, stuff like that. People will come out here too when the carp are spawning, so you'll have very large fish up in very shallow water. And it makes for some exciting time. People come up bow fishing them sometimes. I used to come up and just wrestle them, where you look for where the carp were up here spawning, you try to sneak up quietly, and then when you found one, it'd be like here with its head. You try to position yourself in front of it, and then try to jump down with the leg on each side of its head, closing your feet together, and try to hug them up. And I think the biggest carp I ever caught was one that I barehanded here. And since carp are a rough fish, you can do that. It's legal to spear them, bow hunt them, catch them by hand, catch them by net, or take them by hook and line. Well, guys, we had a couple of little ones, but not exactly finding what I wanted to here. And of course, I've put forth, 8 minutes of effort so far. It's not incredibly a large amount. Sometimes too, in weeds like this, for the ones that don't bury themselves all the way, I don't know if you guys saw that video I had of a small snapping turtle burying itself in the sand at Lake Michigan, but often they'll bury themselves all the way down. Oops, see, that was something. That was something hard, but not what I'm looking for. But they'll go either all the way down, or they'll just be kind of resting here. Well, you'll see a section cleared kind of like this. Out of all the weeds, you'll see a section cleared, but there'll be a snapping turtle shell with the snapper in it. I'm sure. Now here was the section that all those little turtles were up in. Let's see if we see anything here and take another pass back that way. Obviously, I don't want to bore you guys, so if you're used to listening to vlogs anyway, where people just point the camera at themselves and talk, at least we're in a little different environment, something you guys aren't used to. But and we did catch a couple turtles already. I was hoping to catch a nice big snapping turtle for you guys here. You can see the snails there too. They're hanging out, maybe mating. There's a bunch of snails in there. Not sure. Okay, I'll head up in here one more time. Like I said, as one person with this type of area, I can't exactly methodically search the whole thing. Back and forth, little by little, all the way. Just making sure that's not a head. It ain't moving yet, so I don't think it is. And even stuff like this, I mean, you can have giant snappers in this much water just buried up in here. And they'll wait for things like fish or frogs or snakes, other things that they can eat, come swimming by, and they'll bite them and get them. So, I mean, this is kind of how I spent a lot of my summers as a kid. I'd come bike riding across bridges like this. We'd jump from some trees over there before they cut them down. Come over here, find some cute little stuff like this. I mean, that's just beautiful to me, man. Well, we got a couple potential heads this way. If they were, they'd just be painters. Although, the neat thing about snapping turtles is, on a big head like that, I mean, this could be the size of their whole head, but their eyes are going to be about where my knuckles are, and their noses could be a little tip sticking out off of that. So they don't need to break the surface very large at all to be able to breathe, and sometimes they only stick their nose out. So you could have a tiny little, there goes a turtle. Right here. Oh, oh, I just missed him a couple times, there we go. But you could have a tiny little nose sticking up, smaller than this, and it could be a huge turtle. So that's one thing to be aware of too. This guy's got a little bit of moss growing on his back, and as they grow, just kind of like some insects will shed their exoskeletons, or snakes will shed their skin. Each little one of these scoots, these little sections of their carapace, will be able to fall off and have a bigger one to grow underneath of it. So they'll moss up for a while, but then they'll be clean again. And when they moss up too, all this